Hi, everybody. Good morning. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about prepositions and prepositional phrases. Okay? To start talking about prepositions, I'm going to stick to the basics. I'm going to present you the most common prepositions for you to identify them. Okay? You're going to identify the most common prepositions. If I put them in a sentence, you need to identify where they are. But I'm gonna focus on three prepositions. They are the most common ones that people make many mistakes, including yourselves. That is in, on, and at. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about these prepositions a little bit. And after that, we're gonna talk about prepositional phrases. Okay, what are they? What do they do in a sentence? How to identify them? Okay, so this slide that I'm gonna share with you, it's already on Ava. So after, when you were studying, you can check, but I'm gonna share my screen with you here right now, okay? Ooh, okay, so just a second. All right, so that's the first slide we are going to be presenting today, prepositions, okay? So what are prepositions? They are, in grammar, a word that is used before a noun phrase, or a pronoun, connecting it to another word. So a preposition comes before a noun phrase. A noun phrase is a phrase made by more than one noun, or a pronoun. So we have here some examples. We jumped in the lake. So here in is a preposition. She drove slowly down the track. Down is a preposition. The dog jumped over the wall. So that's another preposition. And here they're coming before a noun phrase. The lake, the track, the wall. Okay? Here are a list of the most common prepositions you will find. Okay, so to me is don't memorize this list, but understand this list. Okay, and learn to recognize this word as prepositions. Okay, because that's what I want you to do right now. So we have about, above, across, after, against, along, among, around, as, at, before, behind, below. They are in alphabetical order. Beneath, beside, between, beyond, by. Despite, down, during, except, for, from, and, inside, into, like, not the verb like gostar, no. Like means como, okay? I like chocolate like my father, okay? My father likes chocolate too. Near, off, of, on, out, over, past, through, to, toward, under, until, up, with, within, without. Okay? So obviously, if you are interested, you can learn more about these prepositions. You can use them in a sentence as well. But for now, I want you guys to recognize these prepositions. Okay? So here we are going to focus on in, on, and at. Okay, these three main prepositions that are very, very important to us. I can use in, on, and at to talk about time and location. I'm gonna start talking about location first, okay? Oh my God, sorry. So every time I talk about that, it's like an upside down pyramid, where in is always more general, so we use it for more things. On is more specific, and at is very specific. Every time I use at, I'm being very specific. So, and from talking about location, when we talk about a location, for example, you're like a GPS and you want to see where you are. So, for example, let's say the GPS is first locating you. You can say I'm in, then we talk about the country. So I'm in England, then you go to the city in London, and even the neighborhood in Chinatown, okay? So you go for bigger, okay? So first, even the continent, I'm in Europe, I'm in Europe, in England, in London, in Chinatown. Then, when we want to be a little bit more specific, imagine if you just say I'm in Chinatown, is it easy to find you? No. It's easier, but not very easy. Chinatown is a big neighborhood. So if I need to find your address to deliver your food, for example, you need to be more specific. So when you want to be a little bit more specific, where in Chinatown, you say the name of the street or the avenue. So when we talk about the streets or avenues, we use on, okay? So I am on Oxford Street, I am on the corner. But then even if you say the street can be very big. Imagine Salgado Filho, it's huge. It's impossible to find an address without the number. So when I have the number, I'm being very specific. That's why I use at. So I would say at 734 Oxford Street, or at the store, at the mall. Why? Because I'm being very specific. Let's say if I ask you, where are you, teacher Cody? And she's gonna say, well, I'm in South America, I'm in Brazil, I'm in Natal, I am in Lagoa Nova. Wow, there are so many things in Lagoa Nova. Which street are you? Oh, I am on Romualdo Galvão Avenue. Where are you then? I want to be very specific. So she says, well, I'm at school, or I'm at Midway Mall, or I'm at 50 Romualdo Galvão Avenue. I'm being very specific, okay? Now when we talk about time, we also use in or at in different ways. Also remember that in is more specific, more general, okay? So when I talk about centuries, in the 1800s, when I talk about decades, in the 80s, when I talk about the year, just the year, in 1970, in 1981, when I talk about just the month, in July, in May, in August, and when I talk about weeks, in 2 weeks, in 1 week, okay? When do I use on? When I talk about complete dates, which means they have month and day. So when it's your birthday, it's on February 24th, May 7th, 1964. You don't need necessarily to add the year. If you have month and day, it's already on my birthday. When we talk about days of the week, on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Friday, okay, on the weekend. And when do we talk about at? When we talk about time, when we're very specific. So at 7 a.m., at 12 o'clock, at 5 p.m. Okay? So the next slide, there are some other cases that also I use the preposition. So in expressions like in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. But night, we use at night, okay? We use for seasons, in the summer, in the winter, in the spring, in the fall. Months, in March. Years, in 2015, in 1999. Decades, in the 70s, in the 1980s, and summertime. On Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday morning, on Friday afternoon, on my birthday, on our anniversary, on the 4th of July holidays, we use on as well. On December 25th, on New Year's Day, on Christmas Day, on weekends, on weekdays. And when do we use at? Only when we talk about time or expressions that mean time, with the exception of night. We use at night, not in the night. Why, teacher? Conventions. So I say at night, at midnight, at noon, at 8, at 6 o'clock, at 9:30, at lunchtime, at dinner time, bedtime, sunset, sunrise, at the moment, and at times, okay? So let's practice a little bit. Here are some sentences that I would like you guys to answer with me, okay? So you're gonna complete with in, on, and at. So he always gets up at 7 o'clock because I'm talking about hour, I'm talking about time, okay? So let's go to the next ones. I already answered, so we're gonna do it together. Our flight to London leaves on the 2nd of July. It's a complete date, okay? So that's why I use it. Sharon's birthday is in January, just the month. My grandfather was born in 1953, just the year. I stayed up late, really late last night. I went to bed at midnight. It's the hour. Did you do anything special on your birthday? Okay, so a special occasion I use on. Stuart usually goes cycling in the evenings after work. Expressions about parts of the day. In Canada, it always snows in winter seasons. Would you like to join us for dinner on Thursday? Days of the week we use on. And I like to read stories to my kids at bedtime. Bedtime is the time for you to go to sleep. Okay? Any questions you can ask me on the chat. Here's another way that I can ask you to do is to identify prepositions in a text or a sentence, okay? So here I have the same text and I here use blue to underline the preposition. So it was on the trip down the mountain that the real excitement began. We were riding down the narrow road at a leisure place when all of a sudden a car traveling in the opposite direction moved out of its lane and in 2 hours. I forgot to underline here. Our drivers swirled suddenly and managed to avoid then I'll explain why, to avoid the oncoming car. But the van did not stay on the road. It swerved off the road and due to the heavy load it was carrying tipped over. Luckily for those of us here in the van, I forgot to put for and off. It did not tumble down the mountainside, but instead stepped on a ledge overhanging a deep precipice. We tried to push the van upright. However, it was not a great surprise that despite our best efforts, we were unable to move the van an inch. We had to wait for hours for help to arrive, but this time was spent quite usefully in admiring the view, in noticing just how steep the mountainside was, and in feeling thankful that we were where we were. Okay? So now we're talking about prepositional phrases. What are prepositional phrases? A prepositional phrase is a group of words that they begin with a preposition. It's very important. They begin with a preposition always, and they end with a noun or a pronoun that we call the object pronoun. So for example, if I say the sentence, the stairs lead to the attic. So a prepositional phrase starts with a preposition. To finishes with a noun, attic. So to the attic is the prepositional phrase, indicates the place that these stairs are. Okay, so I call attic object of the preposition. Why? Because we call the noun or pronoun that finishes a sentence the object of the preposition. Okay, so a prepositional phrase starts with a preposition and ends with the object of the preposition. That is a noun or pronoun. The staircase is too steep for her. For her is the prepositional phrase. For preposition, her is a pronoun that I call object of the preposition. Is that simple, guys? There's no mystery. The lead carpeting on the stairs. On preposition, stairs, object of the preposition. So what's the prepositional phrase? On the stairs. Okay? So here is just for you to see how easy it is. I illustrated with more colors saying that a prepositional phrase is a group of words that starts with a preposition and ends in a noun or pronoun that we call object of the preposition. So here we have in the red car. In preposition, car, object of the preposition, a noun. In the red car is a prepositional phrase. Okay, I hope this is clear, and let's go to the exercise for us to practice. Here we have 10 examples, and we're going to identify the prepositional phrases. I didn't circle the preposition, but I'm gonna tell you what it is, okay? So in sentence number 1, we walked up the stairs. Up the stairs is the prepositional phrase. Up is the preposition and stairs is the object of the preposition, okay? My mom took a walk around the block. Around the block here in red is the prepositional phrase. Around is the preposition. Block is the object of the preposition. This is clear, class. It's so easy that it seems difficult, but it's that easy. I looked under my bed. Under my bed is the prepositional phrase. Under preposition, that object of the preposition. The object of the preposition is always the last word in the prepositional phrase. And the preposition is always the first word in the prepositional phrase. So that's very easy, right? And here we have two prepositional phrases. That's possible, okay? So when I say the girl looked behind the door for her friend, two prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrase one is behind the door. Behind is the preposition and door is the object of the preposition. For her friend, for is the preposition, friend is the object of the preposition. So I have there two prepositional phrases. Next is don't leave without your coat. Without your coat, prepositional phrase. Without, preposition, coat, object of the preposition. During lunch, we had a basketball tournament. During lunch is the prepositional phrase. So it can come in the end of the sentence or in the beginning. During is the preposition and lunch is the object of the preposition. The car traveled at a high speed. At is a preposition and speed is the object of the preposition. At a high speed is the prepositional phrase. Here again in number 8 we have two prepositional phrases. Number 1 is for a fraction. That for is the preposition and fraction is the object of the preposition. Of the cost is the second prepositional phrase, where of is the preposition and cost is the object of the prepositional phrase. Okay, so we have two here as well. Number 9, at any cost is the next prepositional phrase, where at is the preposition and cost is the object of the preposition. Teacher, how do I identify a prepositional phrase in a sentence? Find the preposition. When you find the preposition, you go until the object of the preposition, which is a noun or a pronoun. So it's very easy. For example, here, at noon, preposition at noon, object of the preposition. So this is the prepositional phrase. To lunch. To is the preposition and lunch, object of the preposition. Okay? That's it for today, guys. That's what I had to show you, my slides. So I really hope that you guys understand, and I hope you understood everything I had to say. And I really think that it's an easy topic for us to study, and we're gonna do some exercises to practice, okay? So bye-bye.